Hello, welcome to the new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top 10 buffs for the Open Ultra League based on Pvpoke rankings. Pvpoke rankings are now available for everyone as well, so feel free to check them out. Link is always down in the description as well. We're going to take a look at today at the top 10 buffs, but also generally the new meta for the Ultra League. And before we even walk into that one, I can tell you already, everything cannot change, so that's going to be quite exciting for the new season. If you're also excited, feel free to leave a like on the video as well as subscribe. There's going to be content towards the new season every single day on my channel until we're gonna be there. So yeah, feel free to subscribe to the channel, would really appreciate it. And let's move on to the first thing here, which is going to be the new meta. We're going to see here the number 1 till number 34 spot. We're going to have the Zygarde actually at the number 1 spot, which is something that most people don't have, so we can kind of ignore it for now. We have Feraligatr still very high up there, but then we're going to have already the first buffed Pokemon of Clefable. We still have a Pangoro here, which has got a buff. We have the Lickilicky with Rollout at rank 5 there. We're going to have Machamp with Karate Chop and Stone Edge, both legacy moves at rank 8. A little bit further down we have actually Florges being pretty high at rank 12 for this meta, as well as Dusknoir following up at rank 13 and Drapion with the Poison Sting buff at rank 14. So quite a lot of new buff Pokemon. Weezing at 19, you see there already. We have actually even Gastrodon. If you have next to Gastrodon, that's definitely the way to go. Rank 24 now for this season. We're going to have Astonished Drifblim at 26. And other than this, we're going to have like a Miltank literally there on the bottom thing there at rank 34. So those are going to be cool. Moltres actually as well, rank 31. But yeah, let's move on to the top 10 Pokemon and let's see how they're going to change compared to what we had last season. First one is going to be Clefable, of course. Again, getting the Swift buff, getting the Fairy Wind buff is going to make this Pokemon way better this season. And now we can actually compare it towards the meta of the new season, which is something that I couldn't do before because, yeah, I'm not capable of manipulating Pvpoke as much as Pvpoke can do itself. So now we're going to have here against the new meta, and as you're going to see as well that the meta total dropped currently from 40 Pokemon to 30 Pokemon. That's most likely going to get adjusted when we have all of the buffs correctly in the code already, and when we have a little bit more knowledge about the meta. Everybody is gonna start fresh, which is also a cool thing to start into PvP again, as yeah, most people have to figure out the meta anyway first, as everything kinda changed. Anyway, Clefable here going to be a very good 17 win, 13 losses, getting a very good average rating. Very likely the most commonly seen Pokemon for the Open Ultra League, especially as it has great bulk and has also yeah, great coverage as well there. Very great moves to run on it, and yeah, Fairy type Pokemon generally going to love the new season. Which is not really ideal for the next Pokemon, Pangoro. Pangoro here getting the Karate Chop buff, but also getting Karate Chop itself as a new move, as a new fast move. No legacy, no nothing, you can just get it like this. Compared to Snarl, definitely the new fast move going to help this Pokemon out quite a bit more. Here's Snarl from last season against the new Karate Chop, which also got buffed, of course, for this season. You're gonna see an increase of over 90 average rating here, which is really cool. But actually, it's kind of interesting to see that the win-loss ratio is quite low for being one of the best Pokemon on the list. But against the Pokemon that you win here, for example, Lickitung is a very important matchup. Against Registeel, it's a very important matchup. Against a lot of the common bulky Pokemon, and you're going to be able to beat them, which is really cool. So Pangoro for sure is something that you want to build. And also, you maybe want to already try to get this Pokemon. And I maybe make a video about this as well. There are some Pokemon that needs like a little bit of preparation to get them. Here, Pangoro, you need to have the Pancham as your buddy and catch, I think, 32 Dark-type Pokemon or something like this in order to evolve it. So feel free to already put your Pancham as your buddy and try your best at yeah, getting those catches in. So let's move on to the third Pokemon. Lickilicky is going to be the new normal type for this meta, better than any of the other ones like Greedent before. Rollout got buffed, Body Slam got nerfed, which is definitely good that Body Slam got nerfed, to be fair, because otherwise this Pokemon would be a little bit too broken. We're going to have here the Shadow Ball Lick variant in the old meta, which is still actually a very good Pokemon. Getting 20 wins and 19 losses, good average rating, very neutral Pokemon. Actually would have had some play before as well, I guess just had like some better alternatives like the Greedent before, which makes this not as commonly seen. But this Pokemon actually going to have a lot of playground in the new season, as you're going to see as well. Average rating of 528, 18 wins at 12 losses, going to make it a 60-40 split in terms of the win-to-loss ratio, which is really, really good for it. And just a lot of very neutral matchups is just really cool. Also, you have different kind of coverage options. If you want to surprise the opponent, you have Solar Beam even on this Pokemon, which would be really cool. Or Earthquake as coverage for those Rock-type Pokemon as well as Steel-type Pokemon, which would be kind of good for you because Rollout as well as Body Slam are at least resisted by Steel, both of them. So definitely something that you kind of want to maybe cover up as well. So you have like potential with this Pokemon as well in terms of what kind of coverage you want to run. Next Pokemon on the list is going to be Machamp. Machamp again was already shown in the Open Great League, but now in the Ultra League, having access to the buffed Karate Chop going to make this Pokemon very, very good. Karate Chop is a better counter basically now. Actually, interestingly enough, I think based on the stats itself, it is not a better counter. Slil counter, I think, does more damage per energy slash, just energy per turn as well, like if you multiply it together. But generally speaking, energy is a little bit more important than damage right now in the game itself, and so Karate Chop is the better way to go, especially if you have such great coverage as Machamp has. We have Cross Chop, which got recently buffed. We have Stone Edge, which is a very hard hitting move. Stone Edge and Karate Chop, you have to be a little bit careful if you want to build this Pokemon. Both of them are elite TM moves, so you need one elite fast TM and one elite charge TM, which might be also another video that I can do about like Pokemon that are like definitely needing some elite moves to be very good in the current meta. Maybe something that I'm gonna take a look at as well soon. But yeah, as you're gonna see here, this is most likely gonna be the primary fighter. I would say it's going to be a little bit more common than Pangoro, even though Pangoro is going to be a very cool one as well. Machamp is just a little bit more clearer to run. Like you have with Cross Chop just a very great challenge move to have on this Pokemon, as well as of course Stone Edge with a great coverage move, and like Machamp is a little bit easier to run than Pangoro, I would say, also because of the typing, not being weak to fighting, not being double weak to Fairy at least, is going to be already very, very good. But of course Dark typing has some good things with it as well, for example for Alligator and that Shadow Claw. Next one, that is literally the best graphic of Florges that I could have ever imagined. Like literally, you see everything perfectly here. Florges got a Fairy Wind buff. I did not expect to see this Pokemon that high up, but I guess it's this season of Fairy type Pokemon, which also makes it at the same time the season of Steel and Poison type Pokemon. But Florges is going to be one of those Pokemon that definitely going to benefit quite a bit by especially the meta change, I guess, but also with Fairy Wind doing a little bit more damage. This Pokemon got a decent buff for the season, putting it into the top 20, which is kind of cool. And so, yeah, this is definitely going to be a Pokemon that you want to build. And also, you need to get, I think, 20 hearts with the pre-evolution of it in order to evolve it. So definitely feel free to do that as well already. Next Pokemon, we're going to have a Dusknoir. This is honestly most likely the one that I'm kind of most excited about. I don't know really why, but it got Shadow Punch buff plus added to the moveset plus Astonish buff, which makes it a very good Ghost type. Normal types also definitely going to have a little bit more of an impact this season because Ghost types got a huge buff with Astonish. And so, yeah, this Pokemon went from being completely useless by having no good fast charge move and no good fast move to one of the strongest Pokemon in the game right now. Like literally 20 wins and 10 losses is ridiculous, like 66.7 till 33.3 split there in terms of wins and losses, which is really cool. And we have an average rating of nearly 600 for this thing, which is just ridiculous. So this is also one of the reasons why Lickilicky as well as Pangoro are going to be very cool to run in this meta, just because you're going to be able to hardwall Dusknoir. Dusknoir gets hardwalled by any kind of dark and normal type, so it is not a Pokemon that is like completely free to run. It's very easy to counter as well, but if you don't have those Pokemon lined against it, then it is a very tough Pokemon to A, take down, but also B, to take the damage of it, because Stab Astonish plus Stab Shadow Punch and Shadow Ball is just ridiculous. It lacks a little bit of a coverage move, kind of similar syndrome to what you have with the Thackery, which also has kind of similar coverage moves as the Dusknoir, which is also why Thackery was a little bit more commonly used before, as also it has Shadow Claw over Hex, which is a little bit better, but now with Astonish being very, very strong and Shadow Punch being very good as well onto Dusknoir, this is definitely going to be better than the Thackery. Drapion is definitely going to be one of the Pokemon that are going to be very good in the new meta, because it can beat both the Ghost-type Pokemon as well as also the Fairy-type Pokemon. Having the Poison Sting buff going to make this Pokemon very, very cool as well. Here, getting an average rating increase of plus 50 is really good, but also, generally speaking, I could see that this is not the moveset that you want to run later on. I think that Awkward Tail might be a little bit overrated on this Pokemon. I don't really see a lot of targets for this thing. I would rather go for Sludge Bomb on it to counter those Clefables, to do more damage again as well against something like a Pangoro. So I feel like the moveset here that is recommended, I just went for all the recommended movesets from Pvpoke, might change a little bit before we even get into the meta. I think Sludge Bomb might be the way to go on Drapion, just to counter the Pokemon that you want to counter. Galarian Weezing is going to be next here. This Pokemon is going to be also one of the coolest one to run. This Pokemon gets Fairy Wind buff as well, plus the Brutal Swing buff, making it a very good Pokemon also in the Open Ultra League. If you have not built one yet, I would really recommend you to build one, because this thing is going to be insane. 19 wins, 11 losses, a nearly 600 average rating, going to make it one of the best core breakers for Clefable, Pangoro, and honestly, it has also so much more potential by the coverage that it has. You can also go for something like Overheat over Play Rough to nuke away those Steel-type Pokemon, making it one of the best Pokemon to run for the new season, and for sure something you should pick up. Gastrodon going to be the next one here. Gastrodon is going to be also a Pokemon that I didn't really expect here, but Monster buff is going to help it. The Body Slam nerf is kind of needed to keep it kind of in a place where it's balanced, but it goes from an average rating of 472 to an average rating of 472. Which is kind of hilarious, because like you would expect that it would change, but it didn't. But of course, the amount of wins and losses kind of changed here, and also the Pokemon that beats kind of changed here, which it mainly beats the Pokemon that are very strong in the current meta, especially those Poison-type Pokemon, being great core together with Clefable most likely, going to be very cool for this thing, and so Gastrodon is still definitely a Pokemon that's worth picking up. Final one on this list here for today is going to be Drifblim, the 10th buff here for the season. Going to get the Astonish buff, which is really cool, and honestly is one of the Pokemon that I really would like to build. Shadow Drifblim, something that you really would like to have in the new season, especially as you have different kind of options of coverage as well. You have Mystical Fire on it as well as a potential option for it, and here as you're gonna see, Astonish, Icy Wind, Shadow Ball is going to make this Pokemon insanely good. 18 wins, 12 losses. Definitely one good Ghost type here again, and maybe even the Ghost type that you want to use as your Say Swap to bait out potential answers against Ghost type, because you have so much good coverage with Icy Wind as well as like Mystical Fire that you beat most of the other Pokemon with it, or do at least a lot of damage, and then also debuff them guaranteed, which is really cool. So this is definitely a Pokemon to pick up. And that's going to be also it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of content already about the new season on my channel, so check it out also now on the end card, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.